Happy to be here, proud to serve.
There you go. Hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving.
It was very nice.
Madam President, Commissioners, good morning. It is now 11:45.
All right. Thank you, Director Wong. Welcome, everyone, to our pre-commission work general housekeeping items. Any concerns, questions, items anybody would like to bring up? All right. Hearing none. Any questions, comments on the agenda?
Madam President, if I could have a second. I know there's been some back and forth regarding our consent item number 3. Just to clarify for the commissioners, again, the staff is recommending that the commission do approve the proposed design contract with HDR. This project will expand Lake Hazel to 5 lanes with curb and gutter between the 2 streets noticed. It's going to replace the current corrugated pipe at the Cunningham Lateral. It's going to install 2 10-foot wide pathways on both sides of Lake Hazel. Now, Commissioners, as you know, currently statute prohibits that wide a multi-use pathway outside of city areas. We have been, as you all know, we've been working with the legislature prior to the session to have that stipulation removed and authorize 10-foot pathways across all of Ada County outside of city limits, or all city limits across the state. We are confident that this will be successful, hence the reason why we are directing the design team in this project to do both multi-use pathways that are 10-foot wide across the board. There's going to be we're emphasizing a huge focus on the elementary school for both pedestrians and bicyclists. That is a top priority to ensure connectivity and safety for the elementary school in this design concept. Additionally, as we've done with all of our projects, there will be a tremendous amount of opportunities for both the public and all of our appropriate advisory groups to help us along the way to make sure that all the pieces and parts fit the way everybody thinks it should. And of course, we'll be bringing it back to the Commission multiple times for your approval going forward. So again, I just wanted to confirm this is a great project. It incorporates all of the initiatives that the staff and the Commission have taken, and we do recommend that you approve the design project as a first step in starting this project from design.
All right. Thank you, Director Wong.
Madam President?
Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, just a quick question, Director. I thought the statute only applied if it was not adjacent to a road, that it's a pathway not adjacent to a road. It confused me because I thought we could put pathways along the side of roads.
Commissioner, you are correct in part of that. Again, the issue becomes the width. As we've briefed with the Commission a couple times here, we are restricted to 5 feet outside of city, specific city areas. And so what we are working with the legislature on is to have that standardized across Idaho where, for safety reasons, for both bicycles and pedestrians, that the 10-foot multi-use path is the better approach. But again, today, we're limited to that 5 foot. As I said earlier, though, we're very confident that the that the leadership in the House and Senate will, on the transportation committees, will support us on this, and that's why we're moving forward. Now, that being said, if something would go awry, and the legislature, for whatever reason, decides not to do that, we can do a change order. There's no additional right-of-way involved, this sort of thing, and such, but I'd rather go up front large first and fight the good fight, and then if we have to make adjustments later, that's fine. I don't think we're going to have to.
No, okay. I was just confused because I knew that prohibition on pathways had to do with eminent domain, since it's already in our right-of-way. You know, we don't need to eminent domain anything, and that we always had the discretion to decide what the width of our sidewalks and pathways were, this is the first for me to think that we didn't have discretion to decide what the widths of our sidewalks and pathways are. I don't know, what I do is just ask Clancy if that's answered his questions, because he asked if we could discuss this, I don't know if we can break with decorum, just say, Clancy, does this answer your question? Otherwise,
Commissioner Hanson, Madam President, Commissioner Hanson, if I could, Mr. Anderson sent a note to the commission, to you and Commissioner May earlier, stating that he was good with the new staff report.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
You bet.
Right. Thank you, Commissioner Hanson, and thank you for the clarification, Director Wong. All right, any other comments or questions about the agenda? All right, hearing none, Director Wong.
Thank you.
Go ahead and give us your ops report.
Commissioners, good morning. I have a few items to update you on. First, we continue to maintain all COVID-19 preventative recommendations, protocols, and procedures, as you all know. As of this morning, our infection rate remains at 5.5%, well below the Idaho average, and with none still originating at the Ada County Highway District. Moreover, this pay period, as I shared with you earlier, we have seen a 5% decrease in COVID relief wages, which is keeping us in the single digits compared to total wages overall. That's a very good sign. That being said, I've shared this with you and the team multiple times now, we need to continue to be conscious of the fact that this will most likely go up regarding the continued challenges facing Ada County and Idaho. Our 60-day PPE emergency stockpile is good. We just received the next round of ACHD masks and such. Both the vendor and our Cloverdale mechanics have thoroughly investigated and inspected our dozer that was involved in the incident at the Schmidt pit. And there are no issues nor damage to the dozer, and it is back in service. The Safety Committee did meet this morning. I have reviewed their recommendations, and I have deferred those decisions and such to the appropriate leadership in maintenance and stuff for follow-on recommendations for operations. Earlier, I briefed you on proposed internal guidelines for considering adding bulb outs to our capital maintenance projects. We have also shared these initial thoughts with the PAG and have received some initial recommendations that we will be incorporating as we finalize this document. We do expect to roll this out in January prior to the start of the FY project scoping operations, which will help us as we move forward. As a review, the draft criteria for consideration are listed in order of importance, most important to least importance. Let me just walk you through these. As we look at this for our capital maintenance operations, the considerations will be a presence of sidewalks. There is no reason for a bulb out if there's no sidewalk. Must have on-street parking. The street classification, bulb outs should be considered mainly on local and collector roadways, as those roadways are most likely to have on-street parking, less truck traffic, and no striped bike lanes. However, bulb outs should still be considered on arterials with on-street parking in a downtown environment. Emergency services providers. We must reach out to and gain their confidence or concurrence from emergency service providers on these additions to capital maintenance projects. For turning trucks and buses, VRT and school buses, we need to avoid the possibility of trucks and our buses overtracking the sidewalks while pedestrians might be present. When in doubt, the engineer should provide a turning template to show the impact of the bulb out on traffic operations. Presence of bike lanes. If there are striped bike lanes, at this point we don't want to block them with a bulb out. Adjacent key destinations will be reconsidered as to what that term really means as we walk through this. We have to consider adjacent driveways. We have to consider drainage impacts to the system. We have to look at what new developments and subdivisions prove out, because bulb outs should be focused on these areas inside the subdivision with the support of adjacent land use such as schools, neighborhoods, parks, swimming pools, as always, etc. But as always, professional engineering judgment needs to be taken into account. Not every location will fit into these criteria, and we should be willing to evaluate a location that does not fit this criteria if other conditions suggested should be warranted. So, in summary, that was the draft that we shared with the PAG. We have received, as I said earlier, we received their comments and recommendations. We are incorporating all that, and we'll be back to you shortly with what we believe is the guideline or decision tree, I'll call it, for our capital maintenance projects when it comes down to adding bulb outs to part of that. Now, additionally, we have received, and I believe some of you have seen this, a concern from a citizen regarding the Sharrow placement on Heron and 13th. We did investigate this, and the citizen is correct in that the Sharrows on both streets are not in our standard location. Heron Street was done under a project contract a few years ago, and we will be addressing this with a fix as soon as practicable. The markings are in thermoplastic, so it is going to be difficult to obliterate them, but it can be done, and the markings will be replaced. The Sharrows on 13th are in paint, and we have an upcoming project that will allow us to replace them in the correct location after the pavement rehab. Development and Technical Services has initiated a formal review process of all markings before they are replaced, as well as final sign-off. Bluntly, ACHD's past practice in this specific area was not as focused on precision as it should have been, and we are confident that this will successfully address this issue. We are thankful for the citizens bringing this to our attention. And then finally, ACHD's annual audit is wrapping up, and as of this morning, it appears we will be getting another set of good grades. Final brief out to the Commission from Ide Bailey will be in January. So, Commissioners, with that, that's my admin update. I stand for any questions.
All right, thank you, Director Wong. Commissioners, any questions or comments for Director Wong?
Madam President?
Commissioner Hanson.
Thank you, Director Wong. I really appreciate the progress on the curb extension bulb out. And just to incorporate, I'm sure you're planning to do this in any case, is a listing and providing to the Commission, which capital maintenance projects are going to get them and which ones aren't and why.
Absolutely.
So this is a standard report. But then we could go back to our neighbors who are asking and then say, this is why this wasn't done. So we would already have that. But I'm sure that was all part of your plan anyway.
Absolutely.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, looks like we have a couple minutes. Director Wong, thank you very much.
Thank you. Madam President, Commissioners, it's now 12 o'clock.
All right, thank you, Director Wong. Welcome, everyone. I will now call our December 2nd Commission meeting to order. And Director Wong, if you would please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Would you please stand and follow me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. All right, today, for our staff recognition, I would like to highlight the 11 ACHD maintenance professionals from both Adams and Cloverdale that were out very early on Thanksgiving morning treating all the icy roads to ensure safe travel for all of our Ada County motorists. With our on-call supervisor, Mike Plum, Ryan Teal, Rich Grieve, Jesse Llewellyn, Chad Atnip, Randy Abel, Zeke Mercado, Eddie Meddings, Kyle Hickerson, Nathan Bartlett, and Drew Birdwell. A special thank you to all of these gentlemen for spending time away from their families to ensure the safety of all of ours. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We appreciate all you do. All right, first item, adopt our agenda. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion with a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Everyone, okay, any opposed? Motion carries. Next, consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a commissioner or citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda. All consent agenda items are commission action items unless noted. Do we have a motion?
Madam President, I move approval of the consent agenda, and once there's a second, I would like to be able to make a comment.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion.
Madam President, I just wanted to comment on item 7, which was the Bicycle Advisory Committee reappointments. Looking over the list of the where the participants are located, it appears that we have an overabundance in district number 3. I don't know if we should take a look at that and start becoming more cognizant of the fact that when there's a vacancy or a reappointment, there needs to be more of a structure that allows other areas of the county to be represented. The other thing is they go along commission districts, but perhaps maybe that needs to be looked at so that each city is its own district. So instead of having 5 districts for the county, there's like 7, which is 6 cities and 1 county. So that there's just more participation from various parts of the county. I just think an overabundance in one district doesn't serve anybody well.
Okay.
So with that, I mean, I'm going to vote for it, but I just think that we need to take a look at that.
Okay. I appreciate your comments, and that's certainly what our intent has been, to try to diversify to make sure we have the proper representation for all the various districts. But I think you make some good suggestions there. So these are 2 individuals that are up on the 1st of January, so their names have been put forward. So whatever the commission would like to do, we can certainly take all of that under advisement. But we do have a motion before us to adopt our consent agenda. So if there's no further discussion, I will go ahead and call for the decision. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you very much, Commissioner Baker. All right, we have no items on our regular agenda for today. That takes us down to public communications, and we do have a couple of individuals that would like to address the commission.
First up.
Clancy Anderson.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry?
Nope,
I'm sorry, Ms.
that's
Spencer?
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
Hi there,
President May and Commissioners.
Welcome.
Clancy Anderson, 1911 North 18th Street, Boise, Idaho, 83702. Obviously, I had some issues with the Lake Hazel. I think that will be solved going forward. But I do have another thing. It's about temporary traffic control implementation, specifically banning 11th crosswalks and the accessible pedestrian signals that are at those crosswalks. Two out of the 4 crosswalks are currently closed via barricades, but the accessible pedestrian signals are still active. And so somebody with a vision impairment could be directed right into the barriers and a closed crosswalk. In fact, METCD has a standard for this, which is written in an ACHD memo regarding ADA during construction that was written by Don Kostelik in 2008. The standard states when existing pedestrian facilities are disrupted, closed, or relocated in a TTC zone, the temporary facilities shall be detectable and include accessibility features consistent with features present in the existing pedestrian facility. And shall is required or mandatory. It's been 3 weeks since my initial email and 1 week since my reminder email to staff regarding these closed crosswalks. Something needs to be done immediately to correct these 2 closed crosswalks. And with more and more APSs being installed, ACHD should create a policy or memo outlining the procedure for closures of crosswalks at APSs. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Anderson. Director Wong, if we could take a look at this, and then if you could provide a follow-up regarding Mr. Anderson's comments about this particular crosswalk, I would appreciate that. All right.
Yes, we will.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. All right, next, Ms. Spencer, Colby, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, Colby.
Hello, Christopher Colby Spath. I live at 6370 Oriana Circle, Boise, Idaho, 83709.
Welcome.
I'm also, I'm speaking personally, but I'm also a coordinator for Treasure Valley Safe Routes to School. My heart, and I'm sure everybody's heart's going out to we've had several incidents in the last few days of children being hit in intersections, in crosswalks. One in Star and one in Nampa. And the one in Nampa, unfortunately, one young lady was killed. If you've not heard about this, I suggest you look into these things because it's horrible. And when I read about these and I talked to my coworkers about these, it brought to mind a tellus that I recently sent in about the intersection of Cassia and Latah. If you're familiar with the intersection of Cassia and Latah, it's on the bench. Within a half block or right on this intersection are 2 churches, a daycare, and 2 elementary schools, Monroe Elementary and Sacred Heart Elementary. The last time ACHD redid this signaled intersection, there's lights and everything, they did not put the crosswalks fully back in this intersection. They repainted crosswalks across Latah, but did not repaint the crosswalks across Cassia. The same thing is true for Kootenai and Latah as well, but there's no schools there. So I'm going to stress on the Cassia and Latah. After, I guess it was like 8 or 9 days, and I excuse the delay on that because there's a holiday and everything. I understand that. I was notified that this was an oversight. An oversight. You know, that it wasn't in the plans to repaint fully the crosswalks, which I'm puzzled by, because I can understand how I'm not an engineer. I mean, I'm not in any kind of management right now, but I can understand how somebody can make a mistake and omit a section or a crosswalk or a stop bar or things like that. What I can't understand is how a supervisor doesn't catch this, or an inspector doesn't catch this, or anybody else driving down Latah or Cassia that works for ACHD does not catch this. How does this happen? 2 elementary schools, 2 churches, a daycare, within a stone's throw of this intersection, and ACHE does not repaint the stop bar or the crosswalks fully at this intersection. There's obviously some kind of flaw, some kind of paradigm paralysis per se at ACHD, which lets these kinds of mistakes happen and not be immediately noticed or noticed days or weeks later. You know, it shouldn't be, I'm upset with myself because I probably should have noticed this mistake earlier. I ride past here, drive past here on a regular basis. I should have noticed it. So I really wish that there'd be an investigation into how this happened. Figure out what mistakes were made. I'm not advocating for anyone to get in trouble. I'm not advocating for anyone to be fired or penalized. I just want to know how mistakes like this happen and continue to happen. The commissioner talked about Sharrows earlier on 13th. Well, we have brand new Sharrows on Shoshone as part of the Shoshone bikeway. Most of these Sharrows are in the door zone. Some of these Sharrows are underneath parked cars right now. If you were to ride or walk or drive up and down Shoshone, you would see cars parked on top of at least one or two of these Sharrows. How do these mistakes keep on happening? I'm sorry, I'm a little passionate. People that know me personally know that I'm a very passionate person. And I have friends at ACHD. I have people that I really care for at work and are involved in ACHD, and I love them and appreciate them 100%. And I applaud everyone's service. But I think there's some kind of structural failure here that needs to be addressed.
Thank you, Colby. And I believe Commissioner Hanson and I both responded to you today, and thank you for your email and bringing that back in focus into our attention. And we will be taking a look at that and following up. So thank you. All right, Ms. Spencer, has anybody else indicated they would like to address the commission?
Nope, we are done.
All right. With that, everyone, enjoy the rest of your day. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much.